Tottenham Hotspur's season is well and truly over. I've been trying to keep things positive despite the fact we just lost 2 in a row, despite the fact that our form had dropped off completely. But after last night's performance at Stamford Bridge, not unexpected. If any of you watched my match previews, you'll know that I had absolutely zero expectations of us going there to get anything. But did I think that we would down tools the way we did? Did I think that we would be second to every 50-50 challenge, certainly in that first half? No, I didn't. I thought Ange would have them riled up. I thought they'd be up for showing our fans that the last few games have been outliers rather than the norm. But now, with 3 defeats on the spin and an embarrassment at Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea, the season is over. I'm not afraid to say it. We go to Liverpool away next. The only place we have a similarly bad record as we do at Stamford Bridge. Frankly, it is a miracle that we are still in 5th place in the league, and it just shows how bad Man United, Newcastle and Chelsea have been this season, because the drop-off in form from Spurs is only able to keep us in 5th because of that first 10 games where none of the opposition knew how to deal with us. We won 8, we drew 2, but since then, coaches, analysts, they've just put their heads together. They know exactly how to deal with us. When we get the ball, just go narrow, 10 or 11 behind it, and we will struggle to get through. We do not have the tools. We do not have the difference, the ability to step it up. We only score goals in one way, and now that those goals have dried up, it's nothing. We're not a threat from set pieces. We are appalling at defending our own set pieces, and that's why, as the season kind of peters out, we will continue to lose these games. We will lose to Liverpool, we will lose to Man City, and it would not surprise me at all if in the other 2 games we don't even win those, even though we'll heavily be expected to do it. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about last night's loss, a post-mortem for the Chelsea game, and then I'll do a little bit at the end about the Liverpool game at Anfield on Sunday. If you're still with me, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please do give us a like and press subscribe here. It really helps me to make this daily content. Also, go over to the podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give me a subscribe or a follow there and a rating. And you can also be a Spurred On Pro or Patreon member, only £1 a month. All the details in the description box. Really helps me to continue to make this daily content for you, which I realise not as many of you are currently watching as were towards the beginning of the season when everything was exciting. And I understand that when things are difficult, it's easier to turn off your devices. Hell, I do it myself. I find it much more difficult to listen to the Spurs podcasts I love, like The View from the Lane, The Fighting Cock, and The Extra Inch, to name but 3. I find it much more difficult to listen to them after a loss, but after a day or 2, I'm able to deal with it and hopefully kind of gather some perspective. But I admit it is difficult today. I'm going to start with Emerson Royal. He's not fully to blame for anything, but when you see him continually pop up in the number 10 position, I just want to put myself in the shoes of the opposition. What do you think they think when they see Emerson Royal pop up in between the lines? Do they think, oh, he's really dangerous, I better mark him because that's a really dangerous area? No, they just leave him there because they know, A, his teammates aren't going to try and find him because his teammates know that he's not good enough on the ball to do anything with it there. And they don't have to mark him because they know he's never going to get it. And even if he did, he wouldn't do anything with it anyway. So, you know, like I've said so far, the only negative I have with Ange at the moment is his stubbornness about saying he will never get a set-piece coach, because for me that just makes him look like a mug as we continue to concede at set pieces. But the other negative is this refusal to admit that the system overcomes everything, because when you have the only option that he's willing to choose is Emerson Royal to come in at left back, having him pop up in the number 10 position, as well as the fact that, you know, even when he's in his natural kind of fullback position, he's not good on the ball. But to have him there, it just helps the opposition and it enables them to find bodies to go and put pressure on the ball elsewhere, because then they know it's not a risk to leave him on his own. So look, I like Emerson Royal as a defender solely, but he's not right for this system. He's not right for this manager. And in the summer, take 10 million for him. I know we paid upwards of 20, but if you get anywhere near 10 million, you take it, you say thank you and goodbye. He's not right for this. Next thing I want to talk about, the ease with which teams can keep us at arm's length. My goodness, have they learned it? I alluded to it at the top, but just So simple. As soon as an opposition team loses the ball, you get back in your own half, 11 behind it, super narrow, and Tottenham will struggle. The only goal we score, whenever we were scoring goals that is a little 1-2 here and there, get Brennan Johnson out wide into the byline, cut it back, goals scored at the near post. And a couple from Timo Werner back when he was playing on the left as well, where he'd get to the byline, cut it back, Rishi scores or Sonny scores. They know, oppositions, that if they cut off that goal, we are struggling to score. We don't score goals from outside the box. We don't score goals from set pieces. So what are the chances? And that's another reason why it's so frustrating what Ange is saying about defending set pieces. How he says we don't have a problem. There are bigger problems. Yeah, there are bigger problems. But if you take those bigger problems on board, but still find a way to defend set pieces better, we're going to lose less games. Both goals yesterday conceded from set pieces. Embarrassing. I've said it all season. Or at least certainly for the last half of the season. Embarrassing. Another thing, I mentioned it after the game at the weekend, but difference is being clinical. Yesterday, we let Trevor Chalobah, a player who is out of contract, who Chelsea are actively hawking around, trying to get any money they can for, who hasn't played all season until their 15 injuries have forced it in the last couple of games. What has Trevor Chalobah really got? Ability in the air. And we let him completely free at the back post. He's up against Brennan Johnson. That's who he's up against. Emerson Royal didn't cover back quick enough. Anyway, in talking about being clinical, he scores a header from 15 yards. A few minutes later, Christian Romero has a header from 3 yards, 4 yards, wide of the post. In the Premier League, if you do not take your chances, you will get beaten. And in the last few games, the last period of this season, we have not been clinical. We've not been able to make enough chances, and we've not been able to score them when we've got them. Brings me on to mentality. If we can't go to Stamford Bridge and score against them when they have 15 injuries and are having a terrible season already, when are we ever going to absolutely, in any way, have a chance of beating them there? We've only beaten them there once in the Premier League era. It's going to be a long time away. This is what Ange has to fight with. The entire mentality of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And it seeps through from the bottom up. The staff at the bottom all the way to Daniel Levy, the fan base, all of the trauma that we've gone through. It's so difficult for Ange, and I think he is doing the right thing by admitting it and saying it has to change from bottom to top, but it's so difficult. Like, any other team, I swear, would have scored against Chelsea last night. It would have been quite an easy position, I think, to put Chelsea on the back foot and to get their fans on their backs. I can definitely guarantee you that if it was Spurs with 15 injuries and Chelsea came to Spurs, they would turn us over. But we just can't do it. Spurs have to come up against so many London derbies, but all the London clubs have to deal with the London derbies, right? But what Spurs have more than any other club is hatred derbies. There are so many clubs that hate Spurs, like the most. Chelsea, Arsenal, like West Ham, just for 3 in London alone. But it's not even London alone. Lots of other clubs hate us loads as well for some reason. It's so frustrating, and that's another reason why it's so hard mentally for us to get over the line. What chances do we ever have of winning this Premier League when we have to come up against teams who are so often motivated to beat us the most? So difficult. I mentioned it earlier, right at the top. Tottenham in 50-50 challenges yesterday was completely mortifying. Sarr and Bissouma in the first half, horrible. The defending for both those goals yesterday, awful. I'll talk about the second one in more depth. If you concede a free kick outside the area, and how many free kicks did we concede yesterday, by the way? For a team that cannot defend set pieces, why are they giving away so many set pieces? Why is Deki Kulusevski charging into challenges in his own half and giving away free kicks so simply? And equally, when we're in 50-50s, or when we feel a touch behind, why are we not professional enough to go down and win free kicks ourselves? It happens so rarely. We've got to learn that. Romero's got to teach them. But the defending for the second goal, if you concede a free kick just outside the box and you've got a player like Cole Palmer taking the free kick, you know there's a high chance he's going to get it on target. There's a chance he's going to hit the bar. Don't just watch it. They just watched it. The two players who followed it in a very laissez-faire way, Sonny and Højbjerg. Two short players who have zero chance whatsoever of winning a header. What you need is all of the players who are not in the wall. I understand the tall players are in the wall, but all the players who aren't in the wall following it in and then crowd out Nicholas Jackson. Crowd him out, even if you're shorter than him. Just through bodies. Be completely like it's your everything to make sure that he doesn't get that header. But there was none of that. Embarrassing. Anyway, that's my post-mortem from the Chelsea game. I'm going to keep the match preview for the Liverpool game short because I have nothing for it. I have nothing to possibly say that's promising. Maybe Van Dijk is potentially out. Liverpool aren't on a great run of form. The only other thing I can think is that I don't think Liverpool will play the low, narrow block, but I didn't think Chelsea would either, but they found it easy to defend against us. So I'm afraid to say I think Liverpool will turn us over 3-0 at Anfield. I just can't see any other way. I'm sorry to be so negative. Let me know what you think the score will be in the comments. Let me know what the team will be. I have no idea what the team will be. I called for Kulusevski to be given a chance at number 10. He didn't do much. Maybe Lo Celso deserves a chance again. He was good at the Etihad. So frustrating at the moment. But I'm not going to get away from the fact that we've got the right manager. He needs time. He needs patience. He will be calling for the heads of some of these players now. He will. He'll be threatening them, saying, you will be out of this club if you don't show me the mentality between now and the end of the season to prove to me that you are the right people to be there next season. Oh, guys, thank you for watching. Sorry it's been so negative. Give it a like. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Go over to the podcast platforms if you're not listening there. Subscribe and follow. And if you are listening on the podcast, thank you for your support too. Come over to YouTube at @BarnabySlater_. And don't forget, you can also be a Spurred On Pro on YouTube member or a Patreon member. All the details in the description box, only £1 a month. Negative time, depressing, but come on you Spurs.